So my girlfriends
Mm-hmm.
try to give me all this advice. They're like, play the game. And I'm like, I'm not playing the game. And I'm like, what is the game? Don't text them right back. Like, don't show them that you're eager. And I'm like, this is who I am.
And that's a narrative that people got to stop.
Yes, but you're the true me, the authentic side of me will always come out. So if I'm a texter and a communicator, if that pisses you off, then you're not my person. You're not my person. I'm not playing games. Like, but give me your perspective. Like, does that come across clingy too much?
There's a lot that you said in that little part
I
that I
know.
gotta flush out. So we're gonna flush it out, starting with one. When when you have friends, especially your female, right?
Yeah.
When your female friends are telling you to, oh, you should play the game, that's the narrative that has to stop, right? And that's the reason why dating is gonna be where it is right now. A lot of people say there's muck in the water, just pee in the water.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have real people that are gonna be real with you. Because if you had somebody that's real with you, they'd say to you, why would you want to play a game? We already know there's gonna be a cat and mouse.
Right.
There's gonna be time elongated between texts and communication conversation. But be straight up, be straight to the point, right? But nobody really wants to do that because they're living their life as a facade in dating,
I agree 100%.
right? Just be real, right? Just be real. State your intention, right? If you're on a date with somebody, hey, what is it you're looking for? Ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
If that person gets up and they don't want to answer, that person's not for you,
Right.
right?
And I think sometimes I don't want to say desperation, but when you end up connecting with someone, it's almost like you want it to work so badly. But learning that just exactly what you said, like state what you want. If it's not something, there's always going to be certain things that you're going to see in people that you're like, I don't know about this. But
Mhm.
then there's all these great qualities. But yeah, if people could just be authentic and real, I think it would save a lot of heartache.
So how do you get authentic and real in a relationship or in the early stages of dating?
How do I?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a girl that shows all my cards right away. I really do. I just completely am me. This is what I want. This is who I am. I just want to I just want to have fun. I love the banter. I love bantering. I love if you can stimulate my mind, you've got me.
You just said it right there. So everybody that's listening, every man, every woman, more men, stimulate the woman's mind. Everything else will unlock with that, right? That's the very first pillar. But men don't know how to have that authentic communication. It's hookup culture, and it's just like fast food dining, going through the drive-through, grab and dash, grab and dash. That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to smash hookup culture. It's played out,
Mhm.
right? And that's the thing. What you see a lot of men eventually like, oh, you can't find any substance out there. So if all you're gonna keep doing is keep hooking up, eventually it's gonna get played out, and you're like, oh, I want that connection. You know how many guys I tell that to? Eventually you're gonna want that connection because that
Yes.
7 to 12 minutes of you just laying there going to what ends up happening at the end of the day, right?
Right. And then you get up and you leave and it's just empty. It's empty. And
Very
I've just,
empty, shallow.
that's why
Yeah.
dating for me doesn't work because I'm not a hookup kind of girl. Like I just don't, for me, I really want the connection. I want a friendship. I want a lifelong partner. And okay, this is a question that I have to ask because I know a lot of women and men are probably wondering it, but what the fuck is up with ghosting? Like, why can you not just fucking say to me, if you do not like me and you don't want to talk to me, be a fucking man. Like, just say, not into you.
You know why ghosting happens?
Why?
Because those people are playing the field, right? It's like, how do I say this? It's like having, I'll use a sports reference. It's like getting ready for the draft
Okay.
and you're a GM of the team and you have like the fourth pick, but you have all these players that are around. You've done the scouting report. So you have the scouting report, which is on your phone, could be on a dating app, could be text numbers that are coming towards you, Instagram, all the social media. But then you start going through and you're like, who's going to be the best player on my team? That's all it is. So you look at that and you're like, well, that has maybe, grade A score of a 10, but that person has a 7. Maybe I can do this with that person. I can do that with that person. But you're never secure because you're just what they like to call spinning plates. That's what it is, right? Terminology there.
Have you
So
ever ghosted anyone?
me?
Yeah.
Ghost? No, I don't ghost.
Okay.
I
in your
no, there's no reason to, there's no reason to ghost.
Okay.
I think
seem like a straightforward kind of guy.
In the younger times of dating, when I was like in my early 20s, dating has never been this bad at all. So I didn't think you'd had time to ghost. I think people are like, hey, like, listen, I'm not interested. But people just love to have the many. They just want all the many, all the variety, right? How can you have like 50 chicken McNuggets and no sauce? Like, where's the substance? The sauce is the substance, right? There's a lot of people here who have 10 pieces, 20 pieces, 50 pieces of nuggets and no sauce. It is just raw, eat it. Just like that. You know how disgusting that is?
Yes.
Right?
I like the flavor. I like
you gotta have flavor. You
up.
got to.
Yeah.
Barbecue, sweet and sour, right? Chipotle, whatever, male, I don't know. Whatever they got going on, you know?
So again, because you're not stating whether or not you're dating or not, but in your times that you have dated, what do you find the most frustrating?
People don't want to communicate, right? Nobody wants to communicate. Conversations go from, I've done a dating experience with dating apps, right? You go on the dating apps, you match, there's like a, hey, how's it going? And then the person tapers off. So it's like low vibration, right? And everybody's putting their best quality self on these dating apps, right? That's what they're doing. But then they realize it's like, hey, like, what's your phone number? Let's get on the phone. Let's have a conversation. They run away because they're not used to that.
Okay, yes, that does
Because
happen.
when you're on the screen like this, you can play the best representation of yourself. You get what I mean?
Yeah, and I hate that. I'm like, okay, if I'm vibing with you, let's go meet for a coffee.
Absolutely.
Like, let's not start like texting for 2-3 weeks. Like, and then I'm like, okay, you've been texting and you've been talking to me for weeks, but yet you haven't asked me out on a date. Like, do guys like, would you find it forward if a girl said to you, like, do you want to go out on a date?
I think that's attractive. And what you just said there, a lot of women need to listen and actually start doing that more. Because all of this stuff you see on social media where women are like, oh, let him pursue you. Then they listen to that and then that's what they want to do. But it's like, yo, if you find the person interesting, just ask, right? Screw like the traditional way where it's the man has to court the woman.
Right.
Like, does that look weird if you're going to get married? Like a woman goes down on one knee and she's going to get married to a dude. I think that looks a teeny bit weird because really it should be the other way around, right? Because you're taking her hand in marriage. She's not taking yours. It's, you know what I mean? But it's just like, be straight up. Just say, hey, listen, you know, I find you interesting. What's your number? Let's talk. Let's have a conversation.
And you wouldn't think that from a male's perspective. I think I'm a little bit naive and old school, and I love chivalry, but I'm also like, we're in a day and age. If you like something, go after it. Just like if you're going after something in your business or your work, or, you know, you want that, whatever it is, like, why can't we do that in our, you know?
We're scared.
Yeah.
We're scared. We haven't done the inner work. We're projecting on too much childhood trauma. What happened between mom and dad, past boyfriends, past girlfriends, whatever your flavor is, right? Because it seems like a lot of people are experimenting with different, you know, polarities of relationships and dynamics, right? Some people want to step out the box. What's it like to be, if you're a woman and you want to be with another woman, or, you know, things like that, or if you're a guy and you want to go experience with another guy, right?
So men say that they want a strong woman. But do you really want a strong woman?
Okay, so identify what strong is, because this is going to go, this is where
so
we get
I'm going to
spicy
tell you. So I went on a date. This is going back a few years ago. Went out on a date with a guy. We had a great time. Went to my very first drive-in. He brought snacks. I was impressed. I'm like, guys bringing snacks? That's awesome.
You guys went to a drive-in?
We went to a drive-in. Okay, so
for the first date?
For a first date.
So you can't talk in the, like,
oh, we talked. Great date. Okay, I want to get to the point of this. Great day. Ended up going and sitting on the back of his truck, like, you know, having a coffee, whatever. And so he's from out of town. He leaves, calls me the next day and says that was amazing. And I'm like, yeah, like we really connected. And he goes, but it's not going to happen, girl. And I'm like, do you mind me asking why? And he goes, dumb it down, girl, dumb it down. And I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, you drive up in a nice car. He goes, you get out of the car, you look great. And I'm like, yeah, so? Like, what's your point? He was really insecure. He was insecure with my success, but yet he was successful. And then he called back 6 months later trying to go on a date. And I'm like, see ya.
Yeah, because whoever he was trying to locate, he couldn't lock that down. So
Am I that naive?
no. So I'll bring it back to what you said about pulling up in a nice vehicle. A lot of men are intimidated by that because they're like, oh, she's made it for herself, things like that. That's the reason why I go back to that book, Unplugged Alpha, becoming the best version of yourself as a man, right? I had a guest, Anton Daniels, he's from Detroit. And he came on the podcast and he said, listen, when you're a man and say you're single, you're doing your thing, focus on your grind, focus on your craft, right? The grind comes with it, the money comes with it, the women will come with it, things like that, right? But he's saying it in a way whereas when you are working at a high operation level of life, you'll be able to attain the right people and the right energy that comes your way. Stop looking at low vibrational energy.
I know.
And that's what it is. When you actually just build in the trenches, the right people find you because you're at that high level of intelligence and you're going to attract other intelligent people. That's just what it is. It's like you're a high intelligent woman. So you're going to want to be with a high intelligent man. Not a guy that's going to be like, what's the word? Simp, low vibration, you know,
Right.
He sees you coming out of your car and, you know, he's just being a little guy. He's not being masculine, being in his masculine frame, right? Because that's the thing. You have masculine frame and feminine frame, right?
And I think sometimes as women, well, I'm going to just speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I really see pain in a lot of people. So I want to be the fixer. So I'm like, oh, I can fix that. I can convince you that I'm good enough. And it's like, no, I'm not.
Can't fix everybody though.
No, I can't. It's not my job. I'm not God. It's not my job. It's not my job. And I'm learning that in my later years now.
Sure.
I'm learning that. And it's like, no, you meet me where I'm at and I'll meet you where you're at.
Exactly.
And let's not try to change one another. Let's try to accept and evolve and all that. So
let me ask you this question. No, it's your show.
Yeah, you ask.
So let me ask you this question. The men that you go out there and you date, what type of energy are they bringing? Is it more of a masculine energy? Is it more of a beta sim kind of low vibration energy? They're unsure about what it is they want to navigate. You're the guy to be the person that's always planning everything. Give me an example of what that looks like.
Yeah, I feel like they want me to plan it all. And sometimes I just want someone to, and I'm not saying, like you said earlier in this podcast, I'm not waiting for the man to court me. I can bring it. But there's that little girl in me that still wants someone to plan a date. Like plan something, like actually like set a date and let's go. But I am finding the type of men that, in all honesty, men that just want to sleep around, that aren't looking for commitment.
At what age?
Like in their 40s, 50s, sometimes even older guys.
Is that because they're broken?
100% they're broken. I think we're all broken in our own way, but it's all about I'll
can't agree.
You don't agree that
No,
we're all broken?
If you do the work.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
There's work and there's layers, right? Like everyone's got a story and everyone's got a past, but if you're not doing your inner work and you're bringing your baggage from relationship to relationship to relationship, yeah, it's never going to work.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I think a lot of women now do. And that's what I'll position here. And I don't want to say that in a sexist, misogynistic way, is that a lot of women still play on the trauma of past exes, right? You got to sometimes shut that valve off. Stop attracting those guys that are, they're not good for you. You know that they're just there. You're dating. They don't give you room to speak. You have to be in your masculine the whole entire relationship. So when you come out of that and you meet a new guy, you have all this masculine energy that a lot of men ain't not going to what to deal with. A lot of men that are in their masculine, they're going to be like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, you got to just turn that down a couple notches, right? And that's the thing. Like, there's a word that's out there they say about being submissive, right? Being submissive. And I feel like it's very triggering to some. But males want to see you be in your feminine, like when you come home, when you go through the door, you're inside the house. You guys are meeting up, doing all that. Be in your feminine. Be in that submissive energy. Submission goes not only in the bedroom, right? But it's like, just be feminine, right? And I know a lot of people hear that and it's like a buzzword. It's a buzzword.
I agree with you. I
know what I
think
mean?
that I would look at that and say, I get being feminine, but show your vulnerability. Like it's
Well,
okay. Like I got to be a powerhouse out there,
mhm.
but when I come home, I just want to fall into my person's arms and say,
Exactly.
"Shit, that was a rough day.
Of
I
course.
need to just show you, like, let it just all
Yes.
hang out, kind of thing."
Yes.
And
Yes. And that's the thing that doesn't happen in relationships, right? It's a reverse, it's a reverse effect. It's like some of the men are in their feminine and some of the women are in the masculine. So at the end of the day, she's gonna look at you and be like, yo, like, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on? Like, you're not planning no date. You're not, not say, for instance, taking me there, but it's like, you gotta flip that. You gotta flip that.
right.
She's gonna plan something, you're gonna plan something.
So this is a question for me, just again, because I haven't dated a lot. What I get so uncomfortable when it comes to the bill, and I end up always taking the bill, and all my girlfriends are like, "That's an asshole if he let you pay on the first date," and I'm like, "But I'm trying to again. Why does it always have to be the guy, and why does it always have to be the girl?"
I think that's how we were conditioned. The man is supposed to technically pay for the first date. Technically should.
Right.
Right? There's some men that are out there that say the man pays for all the dates. And it's like, is that you got to have some even Steven. It's got to be balanced.
And you got to talk about it. I think everyone's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable about talking about it, but I think if you talk about it up front, it's done, and then you don't have to worry about it,
Sure.
right? So you're not sitting there going, "Okay, like, do I pay? Don't I pay?" Right?
Yeah.
So,
Why do you take the bill? That was my question.
because I get weird, like I just like if they're not going for it, I'm like, yeah,
So here's how we're gonna plan this. I'm gonna coach this up with you. I think the reason why you take the bill is because you're not sure about his decision making when it comes down to when you first met with each other. So I think that's kind of where you kind of go back into your masculine frame, that you're like, hey, let me take the bill because I can't trust you with whatever you got going on. That's how I play that
I think
off.
you nailed it.
Yeah, that's how I play that off, right?
Yeah.
And I think that men just need to start listening more to women, and women have to start listening to men,
I agree.
right? Because here's the thing is, I think a lot of women want traditional views, but they don't want to deal with the traditional things that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're not saying for you to like be at home, be a stay-at-home wife, take care of the kids, but like, don't just be lazy.
Right.
Don't just think you're entitled to have everything handed to you.
That's interesting because I think it's well, in my experience, right? Obviously, you're going to have your perspective because I'm not out dating the women that you're like, or I'm not dating women.
Mm-hmm.
But the men, I'm like, wow, I'm meeting a lot of lazy guys. Like I really am, and
They haven't done the work. They don't know what masculine frame is. Like,
right.
Like you can see it. Like I see it all the time. Like you go out, you're in these, sit down places, you're dining, you see guys and women in the interactions. And the first thing they do is like, here's a free tip I'm gonna give a lot of men here. You don't necessarily have to buy her a drink to per se get her phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Use your mouthpiece and everything will have right there. And a lot of guys leave with their wallet first.
Yeah.
Oh, let me buy you a drink. Because then in their indication, oh, she's going to owe me something. That could be a phone number. That can be a text message, a conversation. She's going to come home with me that night. It doesn't work that way. Just have a conversation. Be direct. You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
Yeah. It's a free game.
Do you believe that men and women are meant to be monogamous? Like, do you think that we're supposed to have this? Like, do you believe in old school marriage and faithfulness and
There's a lot there to unpack. So here's what I'll say from my point of view. I think the way that society's pushing it, you're supposed to have this open relationship,
yes,
which creates a lot of chaos, right? Now, what I look at is how we have to not have that vision about ourselves. I think you need to talk things out. If you're wanting to bring somebody else in a relationship, that's a conversation between the man and the woman at the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think now, and I hear by a lot of the things that I hear on social media, is that women have to be okay with that man, depending on his status, to have other women after him, which is true to a degree, but does that man act on that? Right? Because what I see is I think women are a little bit of they get a little bit more attractive to their men when they see other women maybe glancing and looking at him and going up to him and talking to him. Don't look at that as a jealousy trait. Look at that as like, that man's secure enough. Yes, it could be it could be a networking party, a dinner party, and you see all these women flocking to him. Don't think it's disrespectful to you, because it's only disrespectful if he acts onto it.
And so I feel that also in a relationship. So say you and I are in a relationship, we're at a networking event, you're talking to women, I'm talking to men, but we glance over at each other and it's like, I got you, baby. I got you.
I probably didn't glance over.
Right.
There's nothing to glance over to, because I already know I'm secure in myself. You have nothing to worry about.
But I also, again, maybe if your partner isn't as secure, do you think it's your job to make that person feel like secure, that they're not going to end up wanting to be with all these women they're talking to?
I think that you can just realize by it, you should just know and trust your man when you're out there. You should know and trust your woman out there. Yeah. But the thing is, like one of my guests said, is that as long as you treat women right, they will remain loyal. 100%. Right? Don't give her something to worry about. Yep. Check off all the check marks, because the world of social media is crazy. You get crazy DMs is coming through. Let me take you out. What are you doing? Come over. Let me pull up here. Let me pull up there.
I think our phones are ruinous in a lot of ways, right? So it's just so easy to cheat and be unfaithful. Yeah, there's so much temptation, right?
Here's what I'll do. I had an ex, basically, I remember recently go. And don't get no funny ideas here when I said ex. No. It's recent. Recent could be the last 2-3 years.
I'm not going anywhere with that.
Say to me, oh, I have all these guys texting me. I looked at that and I just laughed and I go, okay, that's nice. You know how many men would be like razzled? They'd be off their rocker, they'd be off their frame. She's doing that to just kind of poke and prod at you.
Yeah, we play games. Yeah. And I think men do too, but I think women, as women,
it's a shit test.
It's kind of like,
she's trying to chip away at the masculine frame a little bit. Are you who you say you are? Yeah.
And I think it plays to that insecurity that you should, if you're with the right person, you don't ever have to do that text wasn't for you. That was an accidental text because you're wanting their attention. And I'm like, if I want to talk to someone, I'm just going to call you up. Go, hey, thinking about you. It's missing you. Right? So.
Or the ones that play the phone game. They put the phone on their face down. I hate when people do that around me.
Oh, really?
I think it's so disrespectful, because like, you clearly don't want me to see what's ever on that phone. I don't care. But it just shows me you're putting a target on your back. So I agree with what you're saying, but sometimes, like, I find I do that because I'll get a lot of business messages from clients, and sometimes I'm protecting like, it's not because any guy, like, I will. That's the one thing in a relationship. This leads me to my next question. Do you think your partner should be able to look at your phone? Go ahead, look at my phone.
Okay.
Anytime I have my phone out,
love that,
and I'm talking or we're in a group setting. Oh, I see the eyes beaming on my phone, right? Because of, doing the podcast, doing this. And I see it where it's just like looking. And I just play and I laugh. Oh, what's so funny? Oh, nothing. That's just something that just came across the screen. When the whole entire time I see you just hawking my phone and looking. Because I have nothing to hide. I'm an open profile everywhere on social media. So if you need to see anything, it's going to come up. Right. Right?
I love that. Yeah. And I did a poll and everyone was like, so I believe if there is trust here, there is no need for me to look at your phone ever.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you're okay, if I need to feel secure, then that's amazing because a lot of people are like, no, like the guy I dated, he had like the eye thing, the freaking code, and would always like put his big palms around the phone when he was on it. I'm like, okay, this is just not feeling right. Like, and then I'd move closer and, we kind of like sneakily try to look. And yeah, it was like all the red flags.
It's so funny because I remember this was back in like 2019. I was on my phone and the same sort of setup. And I'm watching a show. She's watching her show. Mm-hmm. And I picked up my phone. I put my phone down. I picked up my phone. I put my phone down. And she's watching the whole entire time. She goes, what do you have to hide? And I go, I'm not hiding anything. Mm-hmm. And it became this big ordeal. It was like, oh, you're hiding something, you're cheating, you're doing this, you're doing that. We break up, and then down the road, I find out you're the one who was actually in the wrong. You see? So a lot of that stuff people need to watch too. When people
wouldn't that be an easy fix though? Like if so again, you're sitting here and your phone's going off and you're up and down. I'd be like, hey, who are you talking to?
That is. But I said is I'm not talking to anybody.
Okay. But if I'm not feeling right, would I say, do you mind if I look?
Go right ahead, look at the phone.
See, that's all she had to do.
But she didn't want to.
Okay, because she was projecting her own shit on you, right?
That's what people do.
Yes.
So I said,
do.
watch what people say. Watch what they say. Watch what they do.
Yeah.
You always have all the answers there.
People will always tell you,
Absolutely.
right? What they need, what they want.
Absolutely.
But the problem is sometimes we don't always listen.
Because we're blinded by our own judgment. We're prisoners of our own mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's get into the bedroom. Like, not like literally.
Hello? That's what we're at now? In the bedroom?
I didn't word that right. When it what is your opinion like in terms of dating? Like, do you have a rule that you don't sleep with a girl like first, second, third, or
I think that's I think okay, let me ask you this question. Who's your celebrity crush?
Oh, Jason Momoa.
Really?
That's the first thing that came.
Jason Momoa. Aquaman himself.
Man, his hair. I just love hair. Like.
Okay, so Jason Momoa. So let me ask you a question. Would you make Jason Momoa wait?
If what?
Would you make him wait?
I would. I actually would.
That's, ladies and gentlemen, that's lies upon top of lies.
Well, it depends.
You'd make Jason Momoa wait.
If there wasn't a connection, oh yeah.
You just said, see, she contradicted herself. You see, you said that you like hair. If he walked into this room right now
and pulled my hair, would I be like, yeah?
Oh, that's what we're doing, eh? Okay, see, Jason Momoa, if you hear this,
he might.
You never know. You never know, right?
He's watching her.
But here's what I'm saying is that I think you have to go with the flow. You have to go with what's going on at the time. I don't think you should just fully jump in the sack with somebody because that's a form of like hooking up. You got to set the expectation, the foundation. So depending, like whoever you're talking to, however it's going, you have to set that rule, right? But I think there needs to be more rapport built before all this, like, let's hit it off, let's smash, let's whatever, because then it loses its thunder. How can you keep continuing those dopamine hits that are inside the bedroom and outside of the bedroom?
Agree.
You know what I mean?
Agree. 100% agree. Okay, what else do you want to share from a male's perspective?
There's a lot. But you're the host.
I am the host.
I'm just being nice.
Biggest pet peeve that you've had during dating?
I would say like it has to come down to just having that sense of self, right? Because when you're a good listener, you also translate to be a good communicator. So a lot of people, like, it's not ghosting, but they'll like disappear out of the conversation. And then it's like, oh, hey, how's it going 2 days later? I don't feel like I'm going to run after you or I'm going to need to pursue you, right? So I have my boundary and my law is this. If we get on the phone, we text a couple of times, cool, we get on the phone and say we talk, it's Monday, we talk on the phone. I don't think I'm going to text you the next day because you should already get a grasp of who it is that I am. And a woman will always find a way to want to communicate with you.
Yes, I agree with that.
Right?
And that's who I am. So,
and that's where I think men get it wrong. You don't have to simply sit here and run after her and keep texting. Give it some time to breathe because she will come to you. You can't always be in her face.
Okay, so I just learned something from you because I'm the opposite. I'm doing what you're saying men do. I'm the one that will text.
Because you're in your masculine. And I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No. I just learned something. That's great. So I need to like reel it back a bit.
Yeah, reel it back a little bit. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with pursuing yourself because it's like, from a male's perspective, if a woman's texting you consistently and always checking in, it's an attractive quality. So match that effort. Don't ghost it. Don't be like, oh, why she like keep messing? Like, she's showing you what she feels. She's giving you her whole self. And that's what I don't think a lot of women do is want to give them their whole self. But only women that are in tune with their feminine will do that. But you can't overshoot that with the masculine. You know what I mean?
Why does it have to be so complicated?
It's not complicated. It's just rules of life. It's there's a lot of studies and stats out there, right? Certain books to read. Robert Greene, Art of Seduction.
Okay, you know what? I'm getting the behind me, so
Yeah.
that I could talk to you forever. But
Set more time.
yeah, I am gonna set more time. But honestly, like, cheers to this.
It is
This
cheers.
is amazing.
Yes, it is.
I was so embarrassed. I was like so nervous to like sit with you, but
Why?
I don't know, because you know what you're doing, and I'm just like learning. But